What's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month. How Angel Reese and A'ja Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
Angel Reese just discovered her WNBA game drew fewer eyeballs than a cable-access chess match in rural Nebraska. And let's just say she was not amused. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was shattering TV records like she's the Beyoncé of basketball. Angel's ratings, by contrast, showed up like a silent disco with no speakers. What gives? Why did America collectively switch the channel? Strap in, because this isn't merely a stumble, it's a slow-motion, popcorn-worthy nosedive. Let's dive into the how and the why.
You've got a basketball player, you got a celebrity that, or somebody that thinks she's a celebrity, that happens to be a basketball player. All right, but she's not celebrity enough to actually pack in the stands. And guys, there is some ugly numbers.
Angel Reese hit the WNBA preseason court with the confidence of Beyoncé taking the Coachella stage, only to find her audience consisted of a few bored janitors, 2 pigeons circling the rafters, and a bewildered popcorn vendor who thought he was at a monster truck show. In a league where visibility is currency, Reese pulled off the impossible. She became nationally invisible. Not figuratively, literally, because almost no one was watching.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps.
First stop on the Ghost Town Tour. The preseason clash between the Chicago Sky and Brazil's national team, held down at LSU. On paper, it had all the makings of a spectacle. Brazilian flair, Reese's massive college fan base, and her signature I'm her bravado. But in reality, crickets. The ratings were so abysmal they made dial-up internet look like fiber optics. Whole continents cared less than they do about competitive paint drying. NASA probably had more viewers tuning into Mars rover footage. Honestly, they could have swapped the broadcast with a bouncing DVD logo and sparked more hype.
Of you who tell us, oh my God, what a big superstar. Oh my God, transcendent. Oh my goodness, generational. Oh my goodness, so on and so forth. You guys do all the talking, all the yapping. Twitter fingers turn to can't even show up and buy ticket fingers.
Fast forward to preseason game 2, Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx. This was supposed to be Angel Reese's redemption arc, her look at me now moment. Instead, it was more like, can anyone please look at me? A pair of pigeons flew over during warm-ups, took one glance, and dipped out from sheer boredom. Reese came in expecting fireworks and fanfare. What she got was chirping crickets and a lone blogger live tweeting from a Wendy's. Even the scoreboard looked like it wanted to take a nap.
Look, one of the biggest stories to come out of this game is you're playing one of the considered to be top 4 teams in the league, the Minnesota Lynx, and nobody showed up to watch this game. All right? Again, 5 million Instagram followers do not equate to basketball fans.
At one point, the broadcast camera swept across the stands, and it felt straight out of a horror flick. Row after row of empty seats echoed like the remnants of a long-abandoned ghost town. Somewhere in a dimly lit network office, a shell-shocked executive stared at the Nielsen numbers and quietly opened a tab. How to fake your own death. And Angel Reese. She didn't exactly handle it with poise and perspective. Oh no, this wasn't the cool, composed, use-it-as-fuel kind of meltdown. This was full-blown reality TV meltdown energy. Not Michael Jordan rising from the hate, more like a Real Housewives reunion special in 3 parts. Cue the passive-aggressive posts, cryptic emojis, and enough diva energy to power an entire Bravo lineup.
Well, I think it's time to finally, end the argument. End the argument that there is any sort of, other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. And again, the reason why we've got Hailey Van Lith up is because it was Hailey Van Lith's return as well as Angel Reese's return.
The irony? Angel Reese wasn't even bad on the court. Statistically solid, held her own, even had a few flashes worthy of an ESPN highlight reel, on a slow news day, at least. But none of it mattered. Not because she didn't show up, but because in today's game, performance is irrelevant when the cameras aren't rolling and the spotlight's aimed somewhere flashier. Welcome to the era of viral clips and 4K dopamine loops, where substance means nothing without spectacle. Angel Reese could swat a shot into the stratosphere in a silent forest, and if no one's filming it, it doesn't make a sound. Not even a whisper. Just a dull, disappointing thud. As her PR team collectively passes out from sheer exhaustion, their laptops still open to Twitter, frantically trying to spin ghost town footage into gold. The internet didn't light up. The headlines didn't come. The crowd didn't care. Because now, it's not about the game, it's about the GIF. And if your hustle doesn't translate into meme-worthy magic in real time, you might as well have stayed on the bench. Invisibility in the digital age is the cruelest kind of irrelevance, especially when you're actually doing your job right.
Real big game. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all tell us just how amazing Angel Reese is. Y'all tell us how y'all ride or die with Angel Reese. And you know what? This ain't on Angel Reese. This isn't even about Angel Reese. It's about y'all.
Meanwhile, in a galaxy far, far away, also known as where people actually watch women's basketball, Caitlin Clark was setting the entire sports world ablaze, as if she'd just discovered how to dunk from the three-point line. The Indiana Fever's exhibition game didn't just draw attention, it detonated expectations. We're talking record-breaking numbers. Plural, Clark didn't just show up, she stole the whole damn show. Her game didn't attract viewers, it hijacked televisions. Housewives, plumbers, NBA execs, even people who thought WNBA was a Wi-Fi password, they all tuned in. Clark brought the juice, and the world came parched. The vibe? Electric. She wasn't just trending, she was the trend. The sports world's version of a viral meme, except instead of likes, she was draining threes like it was breathing. Which, spoiler, it is her job. And then there was Angel Reese. Poor Angel. Her big debut landed with all the impact of a soggy sock. There was no roar, no buzz, just the quiet hum of missed momentum. She had her moment, sure, a bit of trash talk here, a highlight there. But next to Clark's supernova performance, it felt like a dying flashlight. While Caitlin was metaphorically dunking from Mars, Reese was still trying to keep her sneakers from squeaking too loud on the hardwood. One launched a movement, the other barely made a ripple. Missed opportunity? More like a masterclass in how quickly the spotlight moves on.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil. The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals.
Caitlin Clark is out here crafting her own cinematic universe, and ESPN can barely keep pace. They had to fire up extra digital streams just to handle the traffic. Yes, that kind of traffic. Every time Clark breathes on a basketball court, it's like a Marvel crossover event. Social media doesn't react, it erupts. She sneezes, and suddenly it's a trending topic. Meanwhile, Angel Reese sinks a layup, and her coach forgets to clap, probably too busy contemplating the meaninglessness of existence. But please, tell us again how you're changing the game, Angel. We're listening. Really? Then there's the delusion, the blissful, blinding loyalty from Reese's fans, who've made it their personal crusade to blame everything except reality. The networks didn't promote it enough, they cry. Right, because a professional league should drop everything and roll out the red carpet for a rookie who hasn't even logged a full regular season minute. It was the time slot, they whine. Of course. A 7 p.m. tip-off, prime time by any standard, is obviously the villain behind the ratings nosedive. Surely it had nothing to do with the deafening silence, the zero momentum, the utter lack of spark surrounding the whole affair. No, it couldn't possibly be that the spotlight simply chose someone else, and she's lighting up the sky like a 4th of July finale.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out on the basketball